I sat with Estelle Avbuere today, talking about how she made time to feel through arts, journaling, and her relationship with Jesus. I hope you enjoy this episode. On the Corner, heart-to-heart conversations.
The corner, conversations in the corner. Heart to heart with the people having conversation. The corner, conversation in the corner.
Hi, my name is Estelle Avbuere. I am 23 years old and I live here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Although my family is originally from Nigeria, but I was born and raised in the US. So, yes, I would say, that's a good question. I would say, for me personally, I made space for myself to feel early on, maybe like when I was like in middle school, when I started journaling regularly. I talk about journaling a lot because I love it. But that's how I made space for myself to feel and like pour out my heart to God and just like talking things out with myself, I guess. And so I think that's how early on I made space to feel. But honestly, I think it started just with, like being able to express myself from a young age. Like when my parents put me in dance when I was young, like when I was like 2 or 3 years old with my older sister, we would do like all these like lyrical dances and it was like very expressive, And so I think that was like my first like taste of self-expression, and so I guess that's how I started out like feeling my feelings. And so that's on one hand, is like through the arts and then like through journaling and stuff like that, I learned to express myself and I learned to make the time to express myself and like saw that it was important for me because I knew from an early age that I was very emotional. We're all emotional beings, but some people are more expressive, naturally expressive with their emotions than others. And I was always like very easily, how do I put this without, I was just like a crybaby, quote unquote. Like I just like would cry a lot when I was young. And so, but it was, so sometimes it was like, okay, she's crying again, like why is this girl crying again over everything? But I just like felt things deeply. Like if someone like said a harsh word to me, like I didn't like, after 2 seconds after I cried, I would forget about it, but like I might cry because like I took it very personally. So I guess like it's kind of like looked down on to cry too much, even when you're young. So in that sense, I kind of like learned to sort of like try to hold myself together. But even then, I still didn't do very well. So I think the arts has always helped me, like journaling has always helped me because like that way I have somewhere to put all that emotion into so that I'm not, So that I felt like I wasn't like constantly crying. I don't know if that answered your question, but yeah. All that to say is I think, I don't know that I was necessarily intentionally given the space to feel, but I think because I realized that I did have a lot of feelings from a young age, I kind of found ways to make space to feel. So, and I do that even until now. Like now I'm more comfortable with myself and like I'll let myself cry when I need to. Because I'm like, I know that I need to cry sometimes, but I also like have ways to express myself so that I'm not just like overwhelmed with my emotions sometimes. So yeah, that's a good question. lately, I have, because I've tried to, at least, because there's a lot, right? Like I'm in a interesting time in my life, like transition right now. So I like tried to make time to feel things through just journaling, spending time in the Word of God, and prayer, and just being by myself, and then also with friends. One of my close friends, like just we like text back and forth, and I'll tell her like things that I'm feeling. But even then, I feel like I've tried to kind of hold it in, because I have, not that I don't have time to, but like I don't know, I guess I just don't want to spend so much time reflecting on the past that I miss out on how I can move forward. So even though I know like I have to deal with certain feelings and certain like emotions based on things that have happened in the past, I also want to move forward. So I'm like tempering it, like, like a little bit, yes. So am I making space? I'm trying to, but I'm also trying not to live completely in the past as well. So it's like a hard balance that I'm trying to find. So, but I do try to. Safe space to me means somewhere where I feel comfortable and where I can just be myself, share how I'm feeling, and not have to worry about being judged or being looked down on, or being told that my emotions or my dreams or my thoughts or my passions aren't like worthy or important. So that's a safe space to me. I feel like I can really be myself, express myself and the things that I care about without fear of judgment. I hope so. I want to be. I try to. Yeah, I try to be, but at the same time, you can't really force it, and that's like where the safety comes. Like you have to let the trust grow between you and another person or other people. I think people tend to open up around me and vice versa, because I'm very trusting. Like I'm a very trusting person. Like I will tell people my life story for no reason. Yes, when I start talking, like it's hard to get me to stop sometimes. So I'm a very trusting person, and I guess because of that, like people warm up to me quickly and will also be open, which is good. Which I think is like a good sign that like maybe I'm able to create a safe space. But at the same time, there has to be like a level of trust too, so that takes time to build. So, but that's something that I'm hoping to get better at, because I'm, wanting to create online community with my podcast and stuff. So like I want to always like make people feel like they're welcome when they interact with me, whether it's in person or online, because I think that's what Jesus did. Even though at the same time he created that safe space for people, but at the same time he was fully who he was and who he was supposed to be. And so as you're fully yourself, you might create safe space for people that are supposed to trust you and that are, that you're called to serve, but you also kind of push certain people away just because you are who you are, and they don't want to, like Jesus and the Pharisees, like those were the people that they didn't want him to serve them, you know what I mean? Like they didn't want him to show up as he really was, even though he was creating that safe space. So I feel like even though I want to create that safe space, I have to be okay with the fact that some people might not react to me just being who I am. Like restricted, I guess. restrained, inauthentic. Like, I guess it's sad because then it's not that you don't feel like you can be yourself or that you like can't be fully yourself. It's just the fear of like judgment or comments that would be, maybe a little bit negative or like passive aggressive. So I guess, yeah, it's like a combination of sad and also just like feeling like you're not really being yourself. Yeah, that's how I felt. And yeah. And it's not that I don't think they meant to, but sometimes inadvertently people can kind of inadvertently make you feel uncomfortable being who you really are. And it's not because they want to, like I said. It's just because maybe it makes them uncomfortable, or it challenges them to be who they really are, or it challenges them to step outside of their comfort zone or to expand their comfort zone, right? But and because you are doing it, then it challenges them and like makes them look at themselves. But that's all subconscious, right? So then they just kind of project it by maybe questioning like, oh, why are you acting like this, or like, why do you think this, or like, when you're just trying to do the things that you feel are calling to you, or that you feel aligned with who you are supposed to be, but maybe it's outside of their comfort zone, or it's not something that's like societally or culturally is the norm. So it's a little bit off. It's a little bit out of there. It's a little bit out of. It's off the main road. It's off the what's known and what's comfortable and what's safe. And so yeah, I think it's So it makes me feel sad for myself, and also because I feel like I'm being inauthentic and not feeling like I'm able to be completely freely myself. But at the same time, it makes me feel sad for the fact that I'm not able to be myself. Because then if I was, it might challenge them to feel like they could be themselves more, and then it could change the whole dynamic. But yeah. Like I said, I'm like open to a lot of people because, like I trust people easily. So I kind of like befriend people quickly a little bit. So I think in those moments, I just like turn to whoever I feel like God has placed in my life that I'm closest with, or maybe an old friend, that I always felt comfortable with, or I just if worst comes, first thing is, I guess, to go to God in prayer, and like, I guess, just to see who else is around me and who I feel like I feel comfortable with, and maybe then I'll reach out to them too. But I feel like in those moments when I don't have anyone else, or I feel like I'm not sure who to turn to about what I'm feeling, at least I know that God won't judge me, and at least I know that God knows. Because sometimes when you have certain feelings in a situation, you have to provide context, and that might mean explaining other situations that you'd rather not share at the time, or maybe explaining other people, talking about other people in your life that maybe you'd rather not share about. So, but with God, like, God already knows, He already knows the people that you're that are involved in the situation. He already knows the situation, everything. So it's easiest, I guess, to just turn to Him first, or at least as soon as possible in those moments. And yeah, I tend to, when I feel like I am not sure who to turn to with those emotions, I tend to kind of close in on myself and just talk to me and God, and I'm fine with that. But then there are moments where like it becomes like too big, where I'm like, okay, I need some other voices. I need like to talk to a close friend about this, because as much as you might try to like keep it to yourself, and yes, God, but God like gives you other people for a reason. So yeah, at those moments, it is hard though, because then you're like, okay, how much can I trust them with? You're not sure sometimes, but I feel as of at this point, like I don't think I've very rarely like regretted who I shared certain feelings with. After like prayer, like thinking about like who do I really feel comfortable sharing it with. Yeah, I pretty much have very rarely like regretted it, because the friends that I have that I feel comfortable sharing my feelings with in those moments where it's hard to, have always given me the support that I needed at the time, as much as they could. And sometimes, you know, people can give you the support as much as they can, but at the end of the day, God is the only one who can really get you through. So you just have to like let it, you just have to like wait and just let time do its, you know, do what it needs to do. So yeah, I would say in those moments, that's what I do in regards to like how I feel about the fact that I can't really share my feel, or I don't know who to turn to share my feelings. Yeah, you can feel alone. Like it can be very lonely, and yeah, it can be very lonely. It can be very anxiety inducing, because then you're like, why am I feeling this way? I shouldn't be feeling this way. And then you question why you're feeling that way, and that just leads to more anxiety and more self-doubt. So yeah, getting it out is definitely the best way to handle things, but honestly I don't always do it that way. So everyone's been told how to feel at some point. I mean, we're told how to feel by society, by culture, by parents, by family members, by friends, by teachers. I mean, literally everyone tells you how to feel, like how you're supposed to feel. Like, and sometimes they're right, you know, like you should feel grateful if you have a roof over your head. Absolutely, you know, you should feel grateful for, you know, if you have X, Y, or Z. You should feel I don't know if I would say should, but I think you you will likely feel like a certain way if you have certain things in your life, or certain things are going well for you, you know, and that's good. But I would say that at the same time, even though people can tell you how to feel, they can't really tell you how to feel. Like they can try to tell you how to feel, but no one can really tell you how to feel. You feel what you feel regardless. And sometimes you even tell yourself how you should feel. That's like, I feel like we all do that a lot. Like, I might tell myself, you know what, I should feel this way because of X, Y, or Z. That's fine. I can lie to myself all I want, but at the end of the day, God knows how I really feel. I guess the thing is not to let your feelings like dictate your mindset. That's different. You know, you can have a certain mindset even though your feelings are a different way. But yeah, I've definitely been told how to feel. We all have. We're always being told how to feel. Well, I think my thing isn't really a concrete thing like, oh, I did this or I did that. I mean, I have things to be proud of there, but I think I'm proud of the fact that I am becoming more of who I feel like I'm supposed to be, and like actively putting in the work that it takes. Because, you know, if you just like go through life, I feel like if you just go through life like on autopilot, you know, which is very easy to do. Like you can go through life on autopilot, do what's expected, don't take risks, don't challenge yourself, you'll probably be fine. But are you really living to your fullest potential, right? So I'm working towards actually living to my fullest potential, and not just maybe what is expected, or what is I don't know. I'm trying to work towards living out my fullest potential, and actually being who I truly am, and being all that God has created me to be and is creating me to be in process. And that is not an easy thing to do. So it's something that you actually have to put action to. Faith without works is dead. So yes, I can believe that I'm who God made me or to be. I am who God says I am. I was just listening to that earlier. Or I was thinking that in my head earlier. But I am who God says I am, and all that is true. You can have faith and know your identity in Christ. You can know who you are and who where you come from. All those things, like your culture, your family culture, all those things are important. But to actually become who you're really meant to be, aside from all those things, who you're truly meant to be, that takes action on your part and work on your part. And so I feel like I'm putting in the work towards that, as I also walk in faith, and walk by the Spirit, and try to and walk with other people. Obviously, it's not like you're all on your own, but at the same time, it's your own life, it's your journey, so you have to take the action. No one else is going to do it for you. So no one's going to help you to reach your fullest potential per se. There are people that God can use to encourage you, help you reach your destiny, help you. But at the end of the day, you have to put in the action if you want to be who you fully are. So I feel like I'm proud of myself because I'm actually taking those steps. At least I'm trying to take those steps, develop myself personally and in different areas of my life, grow, and do the work that it takes to grow, because it's hard. It's hard because we're all growing, we're all changing constantly, but sometimes growth doesn't look as it's expected to look. Everyone grows in different rates and in different ways, and sometimes you aren't growing the way that you're expected to grow. So, but regardless, putting in the work and taking those actions that you need to take to become who you are meant to be, that takes work, and it takes intentionality, and it takes planning, and it also takes faith, but it takes action. So I think I'm trying to do that by putting myself out there more, reading books, learning from people, obviously studying the Word of God. There's so many, but I would say at least one. Okay, so one thing I can take away from this interview is that it's okay to be open, and it won't kill you, because look, I'm still here, but it's okay to be open, and being authentic and being open doesn't necessarily always have to mean you spill all your secrets all at once, because that doesn't really foster real trust and intimacy. But opening up as much as you can, and just sharing genuinely is not such a bad thing. It's very freeing. I feel very relaxed, and it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to open up and to think. I think to think back, and think over your life and how you feel about certain things. I feel like it's given me a lot to think about. Can we do another series? I'm just kidding.